I call Willie Rennie to move and speak to the amendment in his name. Willie Rennie.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. Liberal Democrats will vote against the Government's motion tomorrow. We are opposed to another divisive independence referendum. But first of all, I want to address the issue of this cast-iron mandate. For the SNP, their mandate for another divisive referendum is based on the European Union. But now the SNP tell us they will not seek or guarantee membership of the European Union with their referendum. Only, according to Alex Salmond, their official Foreign Affairs spokesperson, the ex-First Minister, very clearly said EFTA is what they are after, the European Economic Area. So they will use the EU to get the referendum, even though their referendum won't get the EU. And we know the reason why. They are cynically courting 1 in 3 independent supporters who backed Brexit, some of them in this chamber here today. So they are prepared to use pro-Europeans to get a referendum but sell them out to win independence. It's low politics for narrow gain. And whilst I'm on low politics, we have the Greens. It seems like from a different time, but we can recall the budget just a few weeks ago, that triumph of a budget where they secured funds that were going to be spent anyway and not a penny extra for the environment. Far from being bold and green, it was a bland shade of beige. That was the first broken promise of this year. Now we have the verbal gymnastics of Patrick Harvie, arguing that manifesto commitments don't count anymore. What happened to this participative democracy? What happened to the 1 million names on a petition? Order. Where is the role of the people deciding whether to have another referendum? Patrick's idea of participative democracy is a few Green members gathering on a wet Saturday afternoon in Perth to airbrush out their manifesto commitment. How can the First Minister claim a cast-iron mandate if she is dependent on the Greens, who didn't even have it in their manifesto? That is the cast-iron mandate of the SNP. In just 3 months, 2 manifesto commitments blown out of the water. The people will remember Patrick Harvie and his excuses. But tomorrow, I predict the SNP and their online bedroom warriors will be battering their keyboards, demanding that the will of the Scottish Parliament be respected. I don't recall those masses demanding the SNP respect the will of the Parliament when it voted to save the Highlands and Islands enterprise, or the Scottish Funding Council, or the outrage when they ignored it. I don't recall the marches on the street of this capital when the government ignored the vote on the Offensive Behaviour at Football Act, or the local health services, or the education performance. I could go on and on. But for these people, somehow Parliament only counts when it agrees with the Scottish National Party. This Parliament has been systematically undermined by the SNP when it does not agree with the SNP. But when they demand it be respected, when they ever will wish. This Scottish Parliament is not the Parliament of the Scottish National Party. The referendum in 2014 was a fair, legal and decisive vote, as agreed and specified by the Edinburgh Agreement, Presiding Officer. With great fanfare, I remember it, great fanfare, the agreement was signed at a grand occasion, high up at St Andrew's House, with high security but nobody watching. A special broadcast by the First Minister at the time was made to mark this special occasion. Both sides were supposed to respect the result. With such demands, today they are breaching the Edinburgh Agreement. That is what the Scottish National Party are doing. It does not bode well for the ability of an independent Scotland sticking to international treaties that they can't even stick to this agreement that it signs now. Alex Salmond said the referendum in 2014 was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Now, some may have heard him at the weekend. He denied he ever said it, despite it being on the record. We've got it on YouTube. Then he denied that he denied it, despite that being on YouTube too. Then he dismissed the whole thing as being complete and utter nonsense. It is the fastest denial about a broken promise that has ever been given. How long is forever? Said Alice. Sometimes just 1 second, said the White Rabbit. Time is a relative concept, especially in Wonderland, or indeed in the SNP's Scotland.
Mr. Rennie, I've got a point of order. Ms Martin, I hope this is a point of order and not an interruption disguised as a point of order. Gillian Martin.
It is a point of order in section 7.3 that in a debate you need to show courtesy to others in the chamber and not taking any interventions when you're delivering a speech. At any point in your speech is not showing respect to the other members in the chamber.
That is not a point of order. Willie Rennie.
I think the presiding officer knew the answer to his own question before he allowed the point of order. But nevertheless, I am sure we've all had it in the last 10 days, the torrent of abuse from SNP supporters, stirred from their 3-year slumber by the call to arms by our First Minister. The feeling of dread that even the First Minister acknowledged at the weekend. It will divide families, it will divide communities, and it will divide friends. That's exactly what happened last time, and if they are deaf to that, they need to get a life. That personal division is good enough on its own to oppose another referendum. But there is wider division too. Division with Europe is not resolved by division in the UK. The response to a hard Conservative Brexit is not hard SNP independence. We do not mount chaos onto chaos of Brexit with the chaos of independence. We do not respond to the break from Europe with a break from the United Kingdom. It is that divisive politics that I opposed in the referendum last year on Brexit, and I will oppose on independence too. And we've got an awful lot more to do in this country. This government is distracted by their mission of independence. We just have to have seen the last few days, the excitement on their faces, the smiles, the anticipation of these benches slavering at the prospect of another independence debate. This government is distracted by its lifelong mission of independence, yet the performance of our education system is slipping down the international rankings. The poor mental health services that Scotland deserves better from, the sluggish economy, the struggling care services, the climate change targets missed, all of those things should be what get this government excited, but never does. You can tell the priority of the SNP what gets them exercised. Today has blown apart any idea that they were in this for the greater good. They are only in it for their own good. We have made great progress in reforming our United Kingdom. In just 20 years, we have created this Parliament based on proportional representation, built on the foundations of human rights, gaining more powers, including most recently over tax. We should be proud of what we achieved together. Together, everybody in this Parliament working together. But I want to create a federal United Kingdom with power shared across the country, with a written constitution, fair votes, an elected second chamber. These are the reforms that are on the way to make our United Kingdom even stronger. The campaign for independence undermines that chance. It undermines that momentum. There is a positive case for the United Kingdom. The economic case for the UK is even stronger than in 2014. But it's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about the values that we share. It's the compassion that has built some of the best charities in the world, like Oxfam, like Save the Children, British charities spreading compassion across the world. It's about the compassion that has built the second biggest aid budget in the world. They do not like it, Presiding Officer. The compassion that has built one of the best health services in the world. It's not about flags. It's about the ties that bind us together. And no Scottish nationalist here or anywhere else in Scotland will ever tell me that I should be ashamed of those ties and that compassion. That is the modern United Kingdom that I am proud to be part of. The Liberal Democrats stated clearly in our manifesto that we would oppose another divisive independence referendum, and that is exactly what we will do.
Well said, sir. Well said.